Hey, what do you got here?
Well, I have an antique portrait of Napoleon and an antique portrait of Josephine.
Hey, old man.
Why?
Some guy found high school photos of you and Grandma.
Yeah, right.
These portraits are in mint condition. Honestly, I have no idea as to what the value is or what they're worth, but the lowest I'd accept for these portraits are $500. Yeah, think I could get it? My wife's family's from France, and it's been in a family, I know it's my wife's great-grandmother must have had them.
Corey, I don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, dude, I'm looking at an old picture of you dressed in drag.
Move over.
Feel free.
Okay.
So why are you looking to sell them?
Well, we're moving. I need the money.
All right.
Got to pay the movers. What I like about the two portraits is he's all dressed up in his uniform and everything, but Josephine wasn't bad looking, I'll tell you that much. In fact, I think she looks like my wife.
These are hand painted. They're not what is known as print transfers. These were actually painted by an artist. There was artists back in the 1800s that specialized in these. That's all they did.
So they're old?
Oh yeah, they're old. How old, you don't know, because they're not dated. There wasn't no Kinko's back then, and if you wanted a picture of Napoleon, you had to find somebody to paint it. But these numbers here tell me that these two pieces was in an auction at one time.
It could have been. I have no idea about that.
We're going to have to bring in an expert, somebody that specializes in this type of stuff.
I'd appreciate that. I'm excited about meeting with the expert. It would really be nice to know the true value of the portraits before we negotiate a price.
My name is Greg. I'm an expert in French Revolutionary Napoleonic history. And whenever the guys have an item in French history from that period, they give me a call. They're most likely from the 1850s, from the first decade of the Second Empire, when Napoleon III had taken power in France and was trying to draw a link to his uncle, Napoleon. There was a great market for Napoleonic and Josephinian artifacts all across the 19th century, paintings that were done as pendants, on vases, on plates, even on salt and pepper shakers. The interesting thing about Josephine and Napoleon is that, unlike previous monarchs, they were closely associated as a couple. They were really thought to be in love. They were the Kennedy and Jackie O of their period. She was very much a visual icon, a fashionable person, widely revered as a kind of young, beautiful celebrity of the day. So miniature portraits like this were very common. Now, one really interesting thing about this image of Napoleon, the original portrait from which it was done in 1838, 24 years after Napoleon's death. Art historians think that because he didn't have a model to work from, the artist may have used his own head as the model. In other words, that's actually more of a likeness of the artist than it might have been of Napoleon.
So you're telling me that the idea that everybody gets when they see Napoleon isn't the actual Napoleon?
The artist did this one at a turn, so he had to use some kind of model to do the head, and we think he may have used his own head as the model.
You got any idea what the value of these things are?
Well, I'd want to be conservative, but I think based on what we know, they would probably go for about $800.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I think these portraits are unique in that you've got two together in pretty good condition. For Big Hoss and the Old Man, I think these are really worth having in their shop, and I think they'll get a good price for them.
All right, Greg, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Good to see you
Hey,
again.
we appreciate it.
These things are kind of cool, and based on their age, I mean, they're in great condition. I think they'd be a cool thing to have in a shop. The only question is, can we get them at a good price? What are you looking to get out of them?
How about, how about $600?
I can't work that close, Corey.
Yeah, if you want, I could make you an offer for about half of what Greg said at $400.
Does that mean you're going to double your money off of me?
No, sir. Realistically, if I buy these off you for $400, I'm going to put them in my case, and I'm going to mark them at $800. And the first guy that comes along and offers me $600, I'm going to sell them to him.
$450?
I'll tell you what, I'll go $425 just so you feel like you won.
That's a deal. Right, thank you. I got $425. I'm really very pleased and very happy.